Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Everyone, today we are going to learn about earned value management. So, earned value management is being introduced decades ago, but unfortunately, it is not being widely used. So, earned value management is a combination of schedule and performance and also cost performance in order to answer the question of what did we get for the money we spent. Earned value management is a methodology to measure and communicate the real physical progress of the work and to integrate the three critical elements of project management. In this case, the scope, time, and cost management. So it actually, in other words, it's actually a method to measure the three main components, which is time, cost, and the scope. So it takes into account the work completed, the time taken, and also the costs incurred to complete the project. Okay, and in monetary terms. So EVM able to measure what is the work completed, what is the time taken for the project to complete it, and what are the costs that incurred for the project to complete it in the monetary terms. Okay, earned value management approach is divided into three main concepts. The first one is measuring the progress of the project. The second one, you can be able to forecast the completion date and also the cost, and also you can provide the budget and schedule variances during the project. So what do project manager wants to know when they monitor the project? So the first one, they want to know whether the project is on schedule, and the second main question is what is the project is on budget. So for a simple project, if you look at figure 1, it tells you about this PV, the planned value versus the actual cost. So this will tells you the simple it will give you a simple answer to these two questions. But EVM value asks and answer more important question. For example, how much budget should have been spent at this point, meaning at this point. So time now is here. So what is the budget that's actually spent here now? And how much is the value that the work on the project earned so far? So in this figure, the earned value here is most important curve to be looked into. What is earned value analysis? So it measure the amount of work which is actually performed on a project. You can forecast the project cost and the completion date using the statistical projection, and you can be able to tell the project is performing currently performing, and also you can be able to predict or forecast the future of the progress of the project. So the basic concept of EVM is a task. Each task in a project earns value as planned work is completed. So in this case, it actually explains for every task of activity in the project, when the project earns the value, when the planned value is the planned work here is incompleted. So in other words, it tells you about what you earned in ringgit based on the value of what you have completed. So earned value can compare to actual cost and budgeted, and to determine what is the variance and performance. So the definition, some definition that you need to know when you are dealing with earned value management is, the first one is budgeted cost of work schedule, or some books they mention it as the planned value. So these are actually the plan of your project. So this is a total budgeted cost to answer the question how much we plan to spend, and how much work should we complete by this date. The second definition is budgeted cost of work performed. So, or in other terms, we call it as the earned value. So this is the cost originally budgeted to accomplish the work that has been completed. So in other words, the question is how much work is actually completed. And the third definition is actual cost of work performed. So these are the actual costs or the investment. So these are the actual costs to accomplish all the work that was performed by a specific date. So it answers the question, how much did we actually spend to deliver the earned value? So you have planned value, which is your plan to spend. You have earned value, which is actually completed. You have actual cost, how much you have actually spent to deliver this earned value. So for the earned value graph, time versus cost, so these are the budgeted plan, the planned value. So this is where you determine it before the project commence. And for example, if today you need to determine what is the progress for today, you can have the second one. This is actual spending. This is what the actual cost, what you have actually spent at this point of time. And the third one is earned value. Earned value is the value, the cost of how much you have actually accomplished to date based on the planned value. So this variances is very important. The first one, when you refer actual spending to the planned value, you will determine whether the project is over budget or under budget. And when you refer planned value with the earned value, you will determine what is the schedule. So whether the project is behind schedule or ahead schedule. Project tracking without EVM. So for the project that not using EVM, it's very simple, where you have planned value versus the actual cost. So the planned value is the cumulative value for the project, and also the red color one is the actual completion, actual cost. Okay, so throughout the 8, so for example, for this time, the 8th week, so your actual cost is actually about 60,000. So for those who are not familiar with EVM, it appears that the project is over budget during the first to 6 month, 5th month, and then it goes under budget from the 5th month right up to the 6th month. However, what missing in this chart is how much work has been accomplished during the project. So if you look at this graph, if the project is actually completed at week 8, it's actually telling you that the project is ahead schedule and also it is under budget. But if the project at this point of time at week 8 is only 10%, the project is significantly over the budget and behind schedule. So that is why we need the earned value management to measure the performance objectively and quantitatively. Okay, now let's look at project tracking with EVM. So the first one, you want to see the schedule performance. So schedule performance, in order to get the schedule performance, is the planned value, compare it with the earned value. So when you get this variance, this is what we call schedule variance. So it shows here that the project is behind schedule. Okay, and the next project with EVM is we want to determine the project performance. So if you want to measure the cost performance, is the EV, the earned value, compare it with the actual cost. This is where you get the cost variance. So it looks like the actual cost spent is lesser than what is being completed. So this is why we call it is under budget. Okay, project tracking with EVM. So these are the combination of earned value plus with the planned value and actual cost. So how are you going, what is the best way to read these three lines? The first one is to see the earned value. And the second one, you have to see the planned value, and the last one you see the actual cost. So from this illustration, it shows that when you want to measure earned value, cost performance and schedule performance is need to be determined in order for you to get the earned value management. Okay, now let's look at the variance. Variance is any definition from the plan. So what are the differences in schedule or differences in cost from the specific plan? In this case, what you are referring to your plan value. So most of the contractor will verify the budget and schedule for the project using this schedule and cost variation. So, and using the data, they will use it for plan reviews and also measure the performance. Okay, what variance is determining? It has to determine the schedule and budget variances at the same time. Okay, so schedule variance is a deviation from work plan, but not a measure of changes in cost. So for schedule variances, it is earned value minus with the planned value. So this is what we have discussed earlier. If you want to see whether the project is ahead schedule or delay, you have to refer earned value with the planned value. For the cost variance, it is the differences of the budgeted cost to the actual against the actual cost of the activity. So in determining the cost variance is earned value minus the actual cost. So you have to refer the earned value with the actual cost. So the schedule variance and the cost variance the unit can be expressed either in hours, ringgit, or percentage, or even all threes. Okay, the next one is performance indices. Performance indices of schedule performance and also cost performance. Okay, let's look at the schedule performance index first. Okay, schedule performance index is, these are the formula, which is earn value divided by the planned value. Okay, so value just now is earn value minus the PV, but for the index, EV divided by PV. So it always compare EV to PV. While the cost performance is EV divided by the AC. So if the SPI, the schedule performance index, is more than 1, it tells you that your project is ahead schedule. And if your index is less than 1, tells you that it is a poor performance. In other words, it is behind schedule or delay. Your project is delayed. For cost performance index, if it is more than 1, it tells you that your project is under budget. And if it's less than 1, it tells you that your project is in the poor performance, which is over the budget. So SPI is used to forecast the possible time, whether it is advanced or delay, while the CPI is to forecast your cost, whether it is overrun or underrun. Okay, let's look at example. This is project A. Project A, we have earned value, we have planned value, we have actual cost. We also calculate the CPI, and we also calculate the SPI. So for this project A, the CPI is more than 1. From what we know, when CPI is more than 1, it's actually that the project is earning value faster than it has been accumulating cost. And for the SPI, it is less than 1. Less than 1 meaning that your project is behind schedule. So the project has not earned as much value as it was planned. So let's forecast the project. So in order for you to forecast the project, you need to know what is the budget at completion. Budget of completion is the original project estimate. ETC is estimate to complete. In order for you to calculate the estimate to complete, you need to get the difference between budgeted at completion minus with the earned value and divide with the cost performance index. So ETC here is referred to the work that has not been performed and is therefore an estimate cost. So it actually telling you how much cost do we need in order to complete the project. EAC is estimate at completion. Estimate completion is your estimate cost at the completion at the completion of the project, where you add actual cost with the ETC. So let's move on to example 1. A simple but edible example. Okay, since we are approaching Hari Raya, let's make some. So for our plan in baking these cookies, our plan is we need to bake 40 cookies per batch, and you need 5 batches per hour, and therefore for 40 cookies times 5 batches, you can bake 200 cookies per hour. That is your plan. But your schedule, you need 5 hours to make 1000 cookies. In your budget cost per cookies is 5 cents, so your total budget will be 1000 cookies times with the 5 cents, so it is 50 ringgit. Okay, now that you know your plan and schedule, so let's look at what your progress in an hour. You only be able to bake 150 cookies because some are burned, some hit the floor, some is being fed to the kids and cat. Yeah, so your actual cost ingredient is 9 ringgit. So having all these details, let's calculate what is EVM. So your PV is 10 ringgit, your earned value is 150 cookies that you'll be able to bake in an hour times by 5 cents per cookie, so your EV is 7 ringgit 50 cents and your actual cost is 9 ringgit. So let's calculate what is the cost and variance and schedule variance. So the cost variance is EV minus PV, so that will give you negative 2 ringgit and 50 cents. What does negative means? Negative means that you are behind schedule. So let's calculate what is the cost variance. Cost variance is EV minus with AC, so in this case you also get negative value of 1 ringgit and 50 cents. What does this mean? This means that you are over budget. So you are not just behind schedule, but also you are over the budget. Okay, the next steps is to calculate what is the cost and schedule performance index. The schedule performance index is where EV divided by the PV. So you get 0.75. 0.75 is lesser than 1. So you are actually running 75% of planned schedule. You are not running 100%. You are only 75%. You're supposed to run 100%. So this 0.75 tells you that you are behind schedule. The next one is cost performance index. This is earned value divided by the actual cost and you get 0.833. 0.833 is also less than 1. This tells you that you are running about 75% over the budget. That means you are over the budget by 70%. So how to forecast? Let's focus on the cookie schedule and budget. So you know that your BAC is 50 ringgit. The original cost, the original budget is 50 ringgit. ETC is estimate to complete, where estimate to complete is 51 ringgit and 2 cents. And then you also need to calculate your estimate at completion. So this is 60 ringgit. So what does this mean? So this means that these are the plan, 50 ringgit, and these are the estimate to complete, and these are estimate at completion. So the difference from original budget is 50 ringgit minus with 60, which is you are actually over budget of 10 ringgit. Yeah? And difference from original schedule is you're supposed to finish at 5 hours. You divide by the schedule performance index, which is 0.75, you get 6.67 hours. So you are actually delayed about 1.67 hours. So in conclusion, it takes 6.67 hours and 60 ringgit to make 1000 edible cookies if the productivity of this cookie project does not improve. So now let's move on to the second example. Okay, you were given a sewer and water lines project, and you need to use the earned value analysis to evaluate what is the project progress. So here The original budget is 147,500 ringgit, and the project is scheduled to complete at 94 working days. And for a status report at 10 working days, these are the information. So you have activity A 100% completed, where the actual cost for activity is 1,500. You have activity B also 100% completed as scheduled, with the actual cost of 2,200, and activity C also complete at 100% completed, and the actual cost is 4,000. So if you combine total up these three actual costs, this will give you the total actual cost of 7,700. So what are information gathered here? The first one is 7,000. Your planned value is 7,600. So this is given in the information in the project. The actual cost is where you have calculated 7,700. Your EV is 7,600. How do you get the EV from? EV is the same as PV. Why? Because your activity are all 100% completed as scheduled. Unless if all these activity are not completed as scheduled, you need to calculate based on the percentage. That's how you determine the EV. And the budgeted completion is 147,500 ringgit. And the first thing is you need to calculate what is the shadow variance. The shadow variance is 0. 0 means you are not late and you are not ahead schedule. So you are progress as planned. Next, you calculate what is your cost variance. Cost variance is negative 100. What does this mean? Negative represent cost overrun. So your project is actually your project is actually overrun by 100 ringgit. Okay, the next step is to determine what is the shadow performance index. So your shadow performance index is equivalent to 1. Equivalent to 1 means that your project is progress as planned. Calculation for cost performance index gives you 0.987. 0.987 is less than 1. Less than 1 is actually tells you that you are over budget. Okay, the next step is to forecast your cost at completion. So first and foremost, you need to calculate what is your estimate at completion. This is 141,743 ringgit, and based on the analysis, the remaining cost to complete is 141,743 ringgit. So you need this amount to complete the project. The estimated completion is 149,443 ringgit. So this is the value of the estimate cost at the completion. So in this case, it tells you that your project is over budget by 1,943 ringgit. Okay, so I guess that's all. So if you understand, let's proceed to the quiz. So I see you next class. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.